Hey there, Space Cadets. This is Andrew Pauly, creator of GalaXafreaks, and welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at character design, how I come up with my different ideas for the different GalaXafreaks that appear in my comics each issue. So we're going to start off with thinking about shape, because that's how we get diversity. If we start off with some very simple rules, we're going to start off with a nice tall rectangle, circle, and a flatter one here. Now, we'll then put in where the bodies are going to go. Now, GalaXafreaks tend to be nice and short, cute-ish, I suppose, for trans-dimensional super beings. They're pretty cute, so we'll put in a space where those bodies are going to go. We're not going to worry about any limbs yet, or anything, or body shape too much, but we're going to focus on the heads. Now, the good thing is with GalaXafreaks, not only when we come to design characters, we've got eyes, nose, and a mouth. In fact, we can come up with multiple eyes, spikes, and all sorts, and horns, and open brains, and all sorts of great things. So let's start off with this guy here. We're going to put on multiple eyes on him, 3 rows coming down on the side there. We'll think about his nose. We're going to have a nice long nose, I think, coming all the way down. And just a nice small little mouth. Okay. That looks pretty cool. Happy with that. Alright, this guy here then, I think we're going to go for the one central eye in the middle, going in there. Looks a bit Minion-esque, doesn't it? We're going to have to do something to differentiate that, maybe. Perhaps we go back a bit. We could make it just one eyeball, a little bit like the character Optic in there, but we'll give him some horns coming around the side there. He looks a little bit like Fuzzmuff from issue 2. And this guy here, let's have a look. We've got this nice wide head, so we've got to make maximum use of that. Where we'll get some nice wide eyes far apart there, and a small little nose, I think. And I think we will bring his mouth down to be sort of slightly, I don't know, skeletal, or maybe I'm thinking sort of robotic. Maybe might be quite good. Okay, so yeah, let's go for a robot. So we'll square off his nose a little bit, and then we'll think about that in his body. Okay, now perhaps if he's a robot, perhaps he's actually being controlled by a smaller GalaXafreak sitting inside his head, like that. Maybe we'll come to you in a moment. Perhaps it can be a copy of the original one, of the robot there. Okay, so good starts. So 3 very different ideas already. Now let's have a look at this guy and think about how we can develop these further. Let's get a little bit darker, go work onto a darker sort of reddish brown there now. Let's work in some details and let's zoom in. So here we go. I'm going to use the symmetry tool now to help me with this character design so that I can just make things nice and clear. Let's make my pen a little smaller, I think. Knock back the opacity on there. Now, hold on a moment. Put that up. I need to merge those layers together first. There you go. Right. So let's have a little think about how we can do this guy here. Might give him some small little horns all the way around. Maybe, I'm not sure about those, we'll come back to those. Let's think about his eyes now. We'll use the ellipse tool. We're going to do a little cheap, start another layer. We're going to go around there. So I'm going to make these sort of hollow eyes, and we'll pop some eyeballs on him later. And we'll just duplicate that layer, bring it down, duplicate again, bring it down, looking pretty cool so far, brilliant. And then we'll take my custom eye tool, look. I'll do a tutorial on how to make custom eyes, or custom anything later, so we'll just pop that on there. Alright, fantastic. I think we better save, hadn't we, really, so that we don't lose this. Let's call it character ideas. Okay, brilliant. Back to my normal pencil. Let's fill in those gaps there. We'll make him a bit happier there, right. Okay, so let's do his frame here, his body. Some hands. Okay, so we'll go for the normal standard hands, no claws or tentacles in this guy here. Okay, brilliant. Zoom out again. I think it looks quite fun, doesn't it? I'm not too sure about those horns there. I think we'll get rid of those. Do something different there. And the mouth as well, I think we'll just merge those down back together. Right, so let's think about the shape of his head there. What's going to go on instead? I wonder if he needs... I think he looks this kind of clever guy with all these eyes, so maybe he's going to have some sort of bulging brain coming out, growing out his head, that mouth, and I'm looking a bit surprised. Okay, right, let's move on to this next dude. Let's think, change the colour to help us here. We're going to move that symmetry tool over to there. So we've got this big eye. And we'll do all those concentric circles going in. Okay, we'll mark out where those things are going to go. Let's get his horns on there. Now they're quite pointy, those horns, aren't they? Let's make them a little bit less aggressive and have them more sort of banana shaped. Maybe not quite that much. Stripes. It's always good to use pattern to help define your figures. Right, okay, let's think about body on this. I know, let's rather than give him a body, let's give him some tentacles instead. So that he's some sort of floating, I don't know, kraken-y sort of thing. Where should the other one go? Let's have it on top, coming around that way. That one should go on top, maybe. Maybe a smaller little one up there. Nah, those three are enough. Keep it simple. Right, I think he's pretty cool. Sometimes keeping it simple is great. I don't know, let's try putting on some sort of bat wings onto him. Okay. Or her, of course. Alright. Let's we're just gonna select around her there. We're gonna make it a little smaller. She's sort of interfering with this dude there. Don't worry about the hand being chopped off. It's only the sketch stage. Okay, brilliant. In fact, let's bring her up so they're on a level. There, brilliant. Okay, last one here. Okay, so we've got this mini me, this mini freak within the big robot freak, if he is going to be a robot. Okay, so again, bring that symmetry tool over. Make it nice and angular. Okay. And when I come to colour this later, I'll try and make it look a little bit robotic in its choice of colours, but we can help, of course, by putting things like mark out where some rivets are going to go, maybe. Give them nice square robot feet. And it wouldn't be a robot without extended tentacles with rounded claws on the end, would it really? Let's face it. Okay, so now let's make his master and controller inside. Don't think this one should be a robot though, I think it should be more organic and evil. This is definitely a bad guy, isn't it? This is definitely someone who's not happy about their height and their stature. Okay, right, let's zoom out rather, and have a look at these. I think the robot's going to have sort of very round robotic eyes there. Okay, there we go, that looks pretty cool. Right, so what we're going to do now is that we're going to ink these, and we're going to then colour them as well. But before we do that, I think I'm going to come back over to this dude here, this guy here, and work on that body a little bit more. I don't like it that much, so let's go back over here. And do some stuff with this. Okay, let's try this again. So we'll put on his body here, right. I wonder if he needs to have sort of optic style, sort of crab pincers. That's the one. Okay, we'll go with that. So there you go, pretty cool. Three different GalaXafreak's ideas. Now let's ink one of these and see what it looks like. So let's go steam ahead with that now. I'm going to just crop one of these and then we'll start inking it. Which one we're going to draw and make him look the finished effect, the final thing. So I think we're going to go for our red six-eyed brain dude here because he's probably the more interesting of the three. So I'm going to take that level, that layer that I drew, I'm going to just shrink it out of the way, and we're going to pop them up over there, because I'll probably do the other two as well at some point. And let's redraw our guy here and try and make improvements so that we can develop our idea. So we're going to change the shape of the head a little bit so it's more triangular, which is going to enable me to change and adapt that sort of swelling brain element of it. So it's 3 eyes in there, go right down to the bottom there, and we've got this nice big snoz coming down there, look. Okay, right, smaller mouth as well. Now let's have a look at his body then. Let's do this properly now. I'm going to get those legs in there. This is more of a character sheet. It's not necessarily showing him in dynamic movement. And let's get those claws in there. Or should we do claws, or should we give him big hands? I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's try the hand scenario. Let's go for the big hands. Why not? Now, how scruffy is this inkwork there? Pretty scruffy. So we'll tidy that up a bit in a moment, and we'll then start to refine those details. So that's a little bit more exciting. New layer. And let's just think a little bit more about some of these shapes and get them refined. Okay, so of course the symmetry tool really coming in handy here. If you're not familiar with using the symmetry tool, I cover it in my other tutorial about drawing Captain Yeah, so I'll show you a link to that later. When we know how we're going to do those eyes, so I'll wait and do that directly with the ink. And let's look at that mouth. Finish those legs up a little bit higher. Right, let's sort these hands out because they're quite scruffy, aren't they? So. I'm actually going to rub them out there underneath. Look at that large one there. Okay, that's cool. That'll do for me. Okay. I wonder actually with those hands, I wonder if we can get them a little bit more dynamic so that we can perhaps get him shooting out some rays or something later. Let's try that. Again, let's give him one finger up. Nope. Hands, you know, everyone hates them. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going back to the claws though. That's a better thumb. There we are. That's better, isn't it? Right, let's go back and define those a little bit more. Right, let's start inking then. So we're going to take a pen tool and black. I'm going to put on the steady stroke, set that at 11. And let's start doing this. So we'll start a new layer. Zoom out. Make that pen much smaller, much thinner. How are we doing now? There we go. Right, so I'm not trying to show an actual brain. I think he's just got one of those guys with a sort of swelling alien brain. He's so clever, he's so far evolved that all of his capacity goes through into his brain. Perhaps in future evolved generations he's just a brain. I don't know. Okay, add the nose there. That's not working, is it? Let's go a little thinner there. And let's do those eyes now. So we're going to use the ellipse tool. This time though, look, you'll see the eyes get smaller and smaller, so we're going to have to think about that when we duplicate it. So GalaXafreak style hollow eye going in there. Start another layer and we'll put the eye on. Maybe the eye a little bit bigger. So he's got a sort of confusedness, shocked look, and then rub out underneath. Ooh, wrong there. Merge those down to the same layer. Fill in the black. Okay, and then let's duplicate that layer. Pull it down. And shrink. And try and make sure we keep our symmetry. Because when we come to colour that's going to be problematic if we haven't kept it symmetrical. So use the pencil guides underneath to get it lined up perfectly, like that. Great. Symmetry back on, back to the pen tool. Let's see how that's looking. It's looking quite cool, isn't it? I'm happy with that. Smooth stroke on. You can see it's not perfectly symmetrical, that last layer. So let's nudge it over. Try that. There we go. Now, when you're designing your characters, of course, you need to know if they're a good guy or a bad guy or girl. I think this guy's going to be fairly nice. Perhaps not super powered. Perhaps he's sits on some piece of loving dimension that's been overrun by some evil character, and he's sort of hopeless in his lack of power, not realizing that his true power lays in his ability to love, maybe, or something like that. I don't know. Let's get those hands really sorted now. Curve around. And another one there. Cool. And then let's put in where the knuckles would be, the folds. Alright, here we go. That's starting to look pretty great. Let's save. So we want to try and make him look quite distinctive, and some of the best ways to do that is to think about pattern as well and colour. So for example, optic is very stripy, and I'm going to go for some stripes with this guy as well. So it helps him stand out on the page, but you could do spots or polka dots, zigzag lines, or just keep it simple with your choice of colours. Alright, I'm going to add a few lines, probably not going to work in as much detail as I might do on a more finished illustration. Just add some definition in the brain area. Right, okay, cool. So let's think about colouring this dude and painting him up so he looks great. Alright, so let's merge up those layers so he's all on one layer, and we're going to add a background colour. So I'm going to use my magic wand tool to select the background, get those little bits in there, and then inverse, start a new layer, open up my little colour palette there. Let's use colours from the Coptic range there, drop in the background colour and lock the transparency, and again that's something I've covered in previous tutorials. Right, let's start with a black brush and start thinking about adding some tone in there, some shade, some depth. So whilst I'm doing this, I've got to start thinking about colour, haven't I? Now I think I'm going to go for bright colours, very surprising for a GalaXafreak. We're going to make the brain, shall we go for the greeny sort of traditional greyish colour for the brain, or shall we do something else? Maybe a pink going into a nice yellow, like the orangey yellow. I think we'll probably do that, won't we? So I'm going to think about that. My brain is going to be pink. I'm going to try and think of a sort of contrasting colour, complementary colour to help that stand out. So I'm going to start off with that sort of minty green in there, and that's going to come through underneath the pink a little bit. And his face is going to be pink. So it's going to be yellow, I think I said, didn't I? So we're actually going to then use a bit of pink in the background underneath the head, so the yellow will pop a little bit more in there. Okay. And let's start on with the brain going pink. So we'll keep it that colour more or less, and we'll make it a little bit more reddish in tone. I think we need to start off with some darker areas, perhaps even darker. Okay, and then bring that back up to around there. Start going lighter. I think we can afford to get even lighter than that. Okay, and I like to use my spot tool, my brush that's got lots of dots, sort of randomly spaced. You can okay. Back to the brush, and let's do the face, which we'll start off with orange. I think I might keep the nose pink actually, might be quite fun. I'll come back and work on that later. So we've got some orange on there. Moving up to that nice cadmium yellow there, which would be sort of the main colour. Some highlights, nice popping yellow there, looks great, doesn't it? Really sticks out against the pink. Alright, and again we'll use the old spots and have those going back up into the brain a little bit. It's quite cool as well. Let's work on that nose now that we've decided to make it pink. Let's get back into there. And that's some nice highlights on there. Okay, cool. Let's do the eyes. What colour should we do the eyes? I think a nice turquoise. Yeah, so we use the pen tool to make the eyes really strong and graphic in colour. I suppose I could use a fill tool. Okay, and the inside, what do you think? Lime green. Oh, it merges too much, doesn't it? Let's go for pink, so it picks up on the eyes there. It picks up on the brain. Right. Zoom in. Here we go, last one, and then we'll do the little highlights on the pupils there. And do those whites. Here we go. Smarticus. Right, okay, so I don't know, what do you think? Let's have a look. I think turquoise I quite liked. That turquoise in the eyes for the body. Let's go back to the brush. Let's do the hands, that sort of turquoisey colour. Turquoise and orange I think will look pretty cool. Some highlights, picking that up. Sort of jadey turquoise, isn't it? It's more jade, I think. Let's go for more of the bluey tones. A little bit lighter. Okay, and then sweep those down there. And then we'll go for an orange. And then we're gonna pop this dude into Photoshop in a moment and do some text and some typography. We've got to think of a name for him, haven't we? I'll have a little think about that for a moment whilst I finish this off. Something to do cranium. Something to do the brain, cranny bubble or something like that. Cranny, don't know. It will come to me. Right, cool. A few highlights in the pink, I think, on top of the brain. Get that looking a little bit brighter. Alright, brilliant. Save. And we'll hop over into Photoshop. Okay, so in Photoshop now, we're going to crop him down to a square, so it makes it easier to post on Instagram. Alright, and we're going to drop in a background. I've got one here that I use fairly regularly. I change the colours on them. This is in Illustrator. So I'm going to just change the colours on these. I think I'm going to use the yellow and turquoise on those. So let's just choose a colour. Let's get them all yellow first of all. Wrong way around. Bam, bam, bam. Or that sort of cadmium yellow. Just knock that stroke onto black for now. Illustrator, of course, is a different ball game. I'm not going to go through that now. Let's just hop on. Here and make that a nice turquoisey bluey, something like that. Brilliant. Okay, cool. And then knock that stroke off. I'm going to copy that, plonk him onto here. Alright. Brilliant. Let's, I like to add a little stroke onto the character, a little white stroke. And we'll go for a drop shadow as well on there to help him stand out. Fantastic. We're going to make him a little bit smaller because we're going to put some text on it. Trying to think about names. In the UK, we call the brain, sometimes call the brain a noggin. I don't know, we'll call him Noggin for now. I think if he ever appears in a GalaXafreak comic, I don't think he'll be called Noggin. But that would do just to show some text. So let's see about adding some effects to this. Make it larger. Going to give it a little wave, a little twist like that. Let's give it a gradient. Space that out, so we'll pick a pink from there, or a yellow from there. Fantastic. We're going to add a inner shadow. Stroke. Okay, and then we're going to duplicate that layer. Okay, and there we will adjust the stroke and change it to black. Come on, yes. There we go. Not that happy with the font. Let's change that. Let's try one called Feast of Flesh. Okay, and same underneath. Sort of Angry Birds a bit, isn't it? But that's cool. That will do. Brilliant. So there he is, Noggin. All right. Thank you very much, guys, and don't forget that you can subscribe. Yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more updates. Also visit GalaXafreaks.com for find out more about those GalaXafreaks and see some pictures of my other GalaXafreaks themed artwork. There's the cover for issue 3, for example. That was a multicolored screen print. And of course you can pop to the shop where you can pick up all sorts of great goodies. Okay, thanks a lot, stay cool, stay cosmic.